Hello everyone, it's meteorologist Carly Smith, and we are tracking the rain and the storms. Yeah, so we had a line of storms that really produced some decent rainfall across the watershed this morning. That line is now weakening here in the coastal bend, but we've got some outflow boundaries. One outflow boundary created some pop-up storms in the area, and those pop-up storms are what we're seeing across the coastal location now. So there's a chance the brush country gets in on some of this energy later on into the evening, but it's really a coastal focus for the most part, except for a few spotty showers there near Falfurrias and south of Hebronville. But yeah, lots of thunderstorm activity further to our north. This is where the squall line continued to keep its energy, passed over Buc-ee's, now between Houston and Galveston really. But this is what we've been tracking through the morning. Check out how much rain the watershed picked up. Here's where it just fizzled out and died over us. I will say, Alvin, that tropical system playing some tricks this morning. I was a little worried during first edition that we were going to wind up with a lot more rain than we had forecasted yesterday, because this line of thunderstorms produced a lot more rain across San Antonio than I think anyone expected. So it was looking much stronger during first edition, and now it has since weakened over our area, and I'll explain why. But radar estimated rainfall totals, let's look at those first. We will get to the Beach to Bay forecast. If you're here for Beach to Bay, it is coming up in just a few minutes. But we've got these scattered storms to talk about as well. So taking a look, hopefully this shows the rainfall totals. Nope. Look at this, 2 inches. 3.2. Again, this is radar estimated. Still waiting on some of the official totals to come in, but a decent 2 inches or so across the northern watershed is going to be huge. This is the area that is in the most drought. Right now, the soil moisture is so dry, it's just going to soak it up, so I don't know how much rain will really make it into our watershed. However, this is setting up for any potential rain down the road being able to flow more easily into the watershed than just getting soaked up by the soil. So a beneficial rainfall event, not a drought-ending rainfall event, but this one will be good. It is a good rain. Here's why the storms kind of shifted, right? So if we put this into motion, you're going to notice the upper level winds. So this is our infrared radar imagery. The upper level winds are going this way and then right toward Houston. And so essentially, this cold front was pushing these storms south, but the upper level winds were pushing them to the north and northeast. And so those upper level winds were really in play once we got the front this far south, because the cold front stopped forcing the storm south, and then they tapped more so into the upper level winds than the winds of the cold front. Additionally, you see this right here near Laredo, that's a new development. That's going to slowly drift a little south and a little bit southeast. So some spotty storms with outflow boundaries coming from these storms will be possible into the brush country this evening. But overall, this is a minimal rain event for us, but we do have these little pop-up little spotty cells. And so for Beach to Bay tomorrow, think maybe something similar in terms of our conditions, right? We have a chance for some spotty pop-up storms, but nothing that's a guarantee and nothing that's super meaningful when it comes to impacts like wind, hail, rain, flooding. We're not tracking any of that, just the potential for some nuanced little showers that could impact Beach to Bay, right? So here's one last look at our radar, and then we'll get into the forecast. Hey y'all, the time now is 10:27 a.m. Thanks for joining this live update. We are going to dive right in. So we've had some storms. The wind picked up a gust of 41 miles per hour as that outflow boundary was moving in. So wind definitely gusty. That's not going to be the case tomorrow. We are looking at some really light wind for Beach to Bay, really light wind. So here's our tower camera. Wind north-northwest, 29 miles per hour, gust 41 miles per hour. So it got really windy as the outflow boundary was moving through. So again, what that outflow boundary is the storms that we were tracking early this morning. So let's make this like 3 hours ago. These storms right here, even though the rain started to die out, there's still energy that's moving to the south and southeast. That energy is now over the coast. And so we are seeing the wind and the storms associated with that energy. Yeah, there it goes. There's kind of a little pulse up right here, right over the Corpus Christi International Airport that had a little bit of a bigger gust in wind, which is really impressive. But 41 mile per hour gust, dew point is 74, temperature is 80. We are still going to be warm. We've seen the spotty rain showers. Those will be coming to an end. That's going to continue to move southeast. So it's not going to rain all day. I think more of the energy will be focused toward the brush country moving into the evening. But here's your 10 a.m. forecast. 80 degrees. Yes, a chance for some spotty storms around lunchtime, but with that outflow boundary now pushing offshore, I don't think that will be necessarily Corpus Christi. Excuse me, but again, the brush country may be seeing some of that action. 88 degrees by 4 p.m. I think we still hit 90, low 90s. But overall, this is going to be cooler because we're staying cloudy, and we're going to keep a little bit of a northerly wind throughout the day today as well. Here's what I mean by the brush country storms. Those coming a little bit out of the north, but also from some energy coming out of the southwest. And that energy is coming from Alvin. Now, the latest model guidance for beach to bay, let's pause it right here at 7 a.m. So if you're watching for beach to bay, now is the time. Now we are there. We are in the beach to bay forecast. So beach to bay, what we are looking at is a very, very light and variable winds. The wind, I think that's the biggest takeaway, is we are used to pretty breezy conditions here. The wind is going to almost not even play a role in beach to bay. And so what I'm a little worried about, it's not going to be as humid, even as today, as we continue to see a little bit of northerly winds at the surface. But it's still going to be humid enough, right? We're not getting rid of humidity. We're just maybe dropping the dew point from 75 to 70. And so that drops our heat index from maybe 105 to 95. But what I really want to emphasize is that 95 to 100 degree heat index with no wind is going to feel different, because we're used to at least the wind kind of blowing, cooling us down a little bit. Without the wind, it's just the air is going to feel a little bit heavier. So just be ready for that. As we continue throughout the day, yes, there's a chance for a spotty shower, but a lot of the energy is looking like it's shifting further to the south. And you can see that here in this vorticity. I showed this on First Edition when I was trying to figure out why the storms were going to break apart and then move toward Houston. It's this right here. Look at those upper level winds, those little lines that are moving across the screen. That is pushing everything from the west to the east. And as that happens, all of the energy is going from the west to the east. But look at this, as we get into Saturday, there are some signs that the energy may stay south of Corpus Christi, and that would limit our storm chances until we get a little bit of energy coming back out of the south. But yeah, so there's still a chance. And I will add too, because a lot of this rain is being influenced by, are you ready for this? A lot of this rain is being influenced by Tropical Storm Alvin in the Pacific. So this is not going to have a direct impact. Yeah, this is not going to have a direct impact on the United States, and you can already tell Alvin is getting pulled apart. So the upper level energy is being really pulled from Tropical Storm Alvin up into Texas. And that's why we're getting these little pulses of thunderstorms. So we had the squall line that developed on the cold front, pulsed up over San Antonio and dumped the rainfall in our northern watershed as it met the energy from Alvin, which is just so fascinating to me. And the models did not do a great job of picking up on that, because that's upper level energy. And our upper level models are already not the best because it's missing data. We have a lot more surface data than we do in the upper levels. Additionally, this is upper level energy coming over Mexico. We don't have as much information coming from Mexico other than our satellites, right, as we do across the United States. So it's tricky to forecast because of the lack of current data that we get and are able to interpret and use. So overall, our tropical overview is showing Tropical Storm Alvin and the wind shear already starting to make it look all lopsided and it doesn't even look organized as well at this point. So it's a circle and then it's a big old oval, and it's just fascinating to me to watch this play out. But a couple of things. Do y'all remember Alberto last year? We talked about the fetch, or the wind, getting ramped up between an area of high pressure and an area of low pressure. This might not be the right vorticity forecast. Let's see. I hope it's not an old one. Okay, this is the right one. This is the exact same thing that's happening with Alvin, is what happened with Alberto, except different positioning, right? Alberto was in the Gulf and hit into Mexico, near Tampico, Mexico. That's far away from us, but the wind fetch, or the wind in between an area of high and low pressure, just like we have here, was amplified and then pushed moisture and pushed surge into the coastal bend. So that's what's happening here. We're not getting surge, obviously, because Mexico's in the way, but we are getting all of the upper level moisture. So all of that is coming into play, and it is going to weaken. Mexico has mountains, and that creates a lot of dry air that will kind of take out some of the moisture and make it less usable for us. But overall, this is why we have a chance of rain the next 2 days, is because this moisture is being brought in between that high and low pressure into South Texas. So you see the energy here, even Saturday 5 p.m., it's over the southern half of the coastal bend. So let me get one more model to show you. So here we have, this is our current radar. Wait, this is our current radar. This is the forecast model. So they're similar. The forecast model overdoing it a little bit with the rain north of B in Live Oak County. But what you see here is energy getting pushed south. So actually, let's just play it. Energy getting pushed to the south today. And even our surface energy is to the south. Then the front slides into the Corpus area. This is why we're a little bit worried, not worried, why there is the potential for a few storms beach to bay, because the front is going to weaken over our area. But because it's weakening, I don't think we see a whole lot in the way of storms developing. But you just see how everything gets pushed a little bit more south as that front is also being pushed more south. So very fascinating, very interesting. Let's go back to this model and I'll zoom out so we can see what's at play. Yeah, hurricane season. By the way, our hurricane special does air. I'm not sure if we're doing a raffle this year. That's a great question. But what I do want to say is we definitely are airing our hurricane special. That is going to be coming up on Saturday after the 6 o'clock news. So 6:30, watch the hurricane special and get prepared. That's the point, is to be prepared and not scared. And so this is the time to prepare for the season so you're ready to go if needed, right? It's kind of exhausting to have to do that every year, but the more prepared you are, the easier it gets. And so one more time, here is, we'll add a pause point. Here is Saturday morning. Storms may stay a little bit more to our south. This is Saturday at lunchtime. So there is a trend. Then there is some coastal showers and storms that try to develop into the late afternoon and evening. So we may see a little bit more rain after beach to bay than during beach to bay. But with that being said, it's still not a guarantee one way or the other, right? This forecast is so influenced by several different factors. And what my job is finding those factors and then alerting you of what could happen. And so the main factor is we have the upper level energy that's coming from Alvin. Alvin's going to get torn apart. The energy is still going to move this way. That's going to give us a chance for some showers and storms. We have a weakening front. If the front was going to stay strong, because the high pressure is really going to take hold and be a little stronger, but if that front was to stay strong over us, that would increase our rain chances, but it's not going to be that strong. And so I'm not confident in the rain because of those two scenarios, but we do have the upper level energy. And so, but a lot of the signs do show it more so over the valley valley than over us heading into Saturday. So that's something to keep in mind. But a couple of keynotes, now that I've rambled on enough for beach to bay, is be ready for some inland patchy fog especially. Low chance of showers and storms on Saturday. We've got light and variable winds. I think that's the biggest takeaway. It could be only about 5 to 10 miles per hour, even at the bay. And so that's going to make that last leg feel a little extra hot because you're not going to have a breeze, and you're also not going to have the breeze behind your back helping push you to the finish line. Watch for water. We have had a decent amount of rain, so watch for water ponding, especially in areas of Flower Bluff and under the JFK Causeway Bridge. And then finally, high tide is going to be coming up in the morning, but our waves are going to be on the flatter side, so hopefully we don't have too much rushing water up toward the dunes as we are running beach to bay on the beach. Finally, there is two more things I want to say. Saharan dust will play a role in our beach to bay forecast as well. So the Atlantic is quiet. We have the Pacific active. There's another chance of development south of Mexico actually right now. But in the Atlantic, I don't know why the pause point wasn't there. We have this huge plume of Saharan dust. That's going to limit tropical development. Additionally, we have a little bit of dust already over the Gulf, and that's going to come up, and you may notice that haziness. It can cause allergy-like symptoms. So if you're running beach to bay and you have things like asthma, be prepared to have your inhaler handy and use it, because we also have smoke from the agriculture burning in Mexico and Central America. Now the smoke does thin out a little bit heading into Sunday, and we are seeing less of those fires showing up now on our map, but overall there is still some smoke. We also have some wildfires in Canada that have been producing some smoke north of us, but yeah, there's still some smoke in the atmosphere, and there is some Saharan dust that's moving in. So both of those will kind of keep us hazy. It also will likely add to our clouds. So we are anticipating a pretty cloudy day because we have lots of condensation nuclei in the sky, and we do have energy that supports cloud coverage. So be ready for clouds, be ready for heat, not the super extreme heat that we can get this late in May. We're talking a high around 90, and heat index values may stay in the 90s as well. That's going to do it for this live update. Thank you so much for everyone that tuned in. It means a lot to me. But I am now signing off. Congratulations to everyone participating in Beach